Hi, this is Steve Stine again. Today I'm going to show you how to play You Give Love a Bad Name by Bon Jovi. This was a request that I had, and make sure if you have any requests for songs that you go ahead and click on the link below, and I'd be more than happy to figure them out for you. So let's go ahead and get started here. First thing, of course, is that you need to have some distortion on your guitar. So I've got distortion, I got a little delay and a little bit of reverb on here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just start off by trying to show you all the parts. And just like all my other videos, it's really important that when you're learning this, you break them into pieces. So you watch a part, you learn that part, you stop and do it over and over and over. And then once you learn that part, go ahead and go on to the next section, and we'll just keep going from there. So the beginning of this song actually starts with a bend in the key of C minor. So if you know your pentatonic scale, it's going to be located at the 8th fret. Your pentatonic would be right up here. Okay. If you don't know your pentatonic, it's not a big deal. Just follow what I'm doing. I'm going to take my third finger and I'm going to place it on the 10th fret of the 3rd string, and I'm going to bend that up. So in bending, I'm going to pluck with my pick here on the 3rd string. I'm going to bend it up what's called a whole step, which means I'm bending this 10 to sound like a 12. Okay, so I'm going to bend it up. So what I'm doing when I'm bending, and again, if you've never done bending, I would recommend you look at one of my other instructional videos that talk about bending, but you're basically twisting your wrist like this. Your bend isn't coming from your fingers like this. You're bending it like this. You're twisting the wrist, kind of like you're opening a doorknob. So I'm going to bend that up, and then I'm going to bring it back down to flat, to 0, to normal. And I might add some vibrato on there if I choose to. And again, any of these techniques, if you hear something and you go, what's a vibrato? I have videos for all of these things. All you have to do is do some searching through my pages, and you'll find some of this stuff. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the 8th fret with our first finger on the 3rd string. And then we're going to do a bend again, but this one's faster. So we have... And then we're going to go to the 10th fret of the 4th string, which is a C. So that's the first melody. Then we're going to end that by doing a little palm mute from 8 to 10 on the 4th string. So it sounds like this. Okay, just a subtle little palm mute. And again, if you don't really know how to palm mute, it's using the karate chop part of your hand. You're touching the strings where they come over, okay? Right where the string and the bridge meet, you're kind of touching there with the karate chop part of your hand. Okay, and again, always look it up if you need to. So I have... And then I'm going to go back and do it again, only this time I'm going to do a pull-off. Okay, so let's break this down. The first part, I'm just bending it up. Back down, 8, back to the bend, back to the 8, to the 10. So for me, that would be the first segment to try and learn how to do, is just going... Okay, then we're going to add on this 8 to 10. Okay, and again, if you can't do the palm mute or you don't want to, it's no problem. You know, the goal here is just to sort of learn how to do some new things and have some fun with them. Okay, then we're going to go back and do it again, but this time it ends with, so it's kind of fast that way. So what you're doing is you're bending it up, bringing it back down, then you're doing the pull-off. So pull-off is when you're not picking the string, you're just flicking your finger. This is a really common thing for us to use in rock and roll music. It takes a little while to get used to. And then we're going back to that root. This is a C, that 10th fret of the 4th string with our 3rd finger there. Okay, so you'll notice all the techniques I have going on in here. I've got bending, I've got pull-offs, I've got vibrato, I've got palm muting. And again, take them in stride. If you don't know how to do any of those techniques, you know, one thing you could do is obviously look for a song that might be a little bit easier for you, but if you really want to learn how to do those, take each technique independently and develop them. Learn how to do bends, okay? Now, this video isn't about teaching all of those things, but again, all you have to do is just look for some of my other videos and you can learn how to do those. So we've got... So that's the first part, and he does that twice. The second time, he just ends on that bend going up and then coming back down. So this is the whole thing, the whole intro right here. Can we do it again? Okay, so that whole sequence would be the first thing you'd want to do. Maybe you stop watching the video and you just work on that section. If that's not the part you're looking for, let's move on to the next part. Now this part is that part of the song, okay? Which goes through the whole verse as well. So what's happening here is we're also playing in the key of C minor pentatonic, but it looks a little different. I'm going to be using the 1st and 3rd frets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the 3rd fret of the 5th string with my ring finger, my 3rd finger. I'm going to play that note, and I'm giving it a palm mute. I'm not leaving them all open. It gets too noisy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to palm mute, just a slight palm mute, for all the top 3 strings there that I'm using, 6, 5, and 4, those strings. So the pattern is going to go from 3 on the 5th string to 3 on the 6th string. Okay? And then I'm going to head over to the 1st fret of the 5th string. And then I'm going to go back to the 3rd fret of the 5th string. So I have... Okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to head to the 4th string 1st fret with my 1st finger. And you'll notice at this point all I'm using is my 1st and 3rd fingers. So again, just build that piece. Now the end of this sequence is going to do a 3 on the 5th string, and then a 1 on the 5th string, excuse me. So I have... That's the whole piece. So you want to get used to playing that. Remember, the things that you're dealing with here are, of course, technique. You know, can you play it that fast? Can you palm mute it? All those things. But the other thing is visualization. You have to visualize what you're playing, otherwise it makes it very difficult to remember what it is you're supposed to be doing. So, you know, you're going from the 3, you're jumping over to the 3 of the 6th string, and then you're building your way up. Then you're going to pluck that note twice. Then you're just going to return back. Okay? Now the second time around we do exactly the same thing, but he stops on the note he started on, which is the C, which is the 3rd fret of the 5th string with your ring finger there. And if you can, you're going to do a pinch harmonic there. Okay? Now a pinch harmonic, again, you can look up a video on that, but just real quickly, a pinch harmonic is caused by turning your pick just slightly, okay, and putting the thumb on the string, the flesh of the thumb, on the string at the same time as the pick. So when you pick through, the last thing to pluck, the last thing to touch that string, is the flesh of the thumb. So you're kind of, they call it a pinch harmonic because when you turn and you push through, you're kind of pinching it a little bit. You're kind of pushing in a little bit. Just a little bit, though. So again, another technique for you to try and look at. If you don't know how to do pinch harmonics, you can still learn how to play this song and not do the pinch harmonic, and then go back and practice that. Okay? That's the great thing about learning. So now I've got this. Now right there what happens is I'm going to take off from where I was, and I'm going to head up to the 8th fret of the middle 2 strings of the 3rd and 4th strings. It doesn't matter what finger I use, whether I use my 1st finger or my 3rd finger or whatever, you're just hiking up there. So watch what happens. I'm coming off the intro lick, this verse lick here. Okay, so I'm coming from the first part. And right after I play that 1 on the 5th string, I'm going to hike up to that 8th fret. Okay, and I'm going to use my whammy bar. I'm just pumping it a couple of times. Okay, just depressing the bar a couple of times. Now, if you have a whammy bar, okay, yours might be solid where it stays. I have a tendency of liking mine to get out of the way, so when I'm done doing whatever it is I'm doing, it gets out of the way when I'm playing. It doesn't matter, whatever you like. If you have it sitting here, you can just kind of hit it a couple of times too, and that would be fine. If you don't have a whammy bar, you just don't do that part. You can still move up to the 8, you just wouldn't do the depressions. So you have... And you'll notice right there, I'm obviously not palm muting these 8s. I was palm muting the whole thing except for the pinch harmonic on the 3rd fret. Okay? So that's how the sequence is going to go leading into the verse, and as well as through the verse. The only thing through the verse is that you don't do the 8s. You're just going to keep doing the same groove over and over and over. So this is what your verse would look like. So you just keep doing that same thing over and over and over. So again, there's the second section of the song with a couple little things in there with the pinch harmonic and the 8th fret. You just repeat that same riff over and over and over. So again, if you need to watch this over and over and over to get that part, watch it, stop the video, and then visualize, memorize that section. Okay, so now we're going to move on. Now we're moving on to the pre-chorus. Okay, so in the pre-chorus, what I'm going to do is play a power chord on the 1st fret of the 6th string. Now, it doesn't matter whether you play your power chord as a one finger, your 1st and 3rd fingers like this, or if you want to play 1st, 3rd, and pinky, okay? And again, if you don't know what a power chord is, you can always refer back to the videos, okay? So there's your power chord on the 6th string of the 1st fret. I'm using all 3 fingers, but again, if you only use 2, it's just fine, okay? So you're going from here, and then that's it. He just strums it once, and then he goes up to the 8th fret again. You give it a couple of pumps with your whammy bar. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to head down to the 1st fret of the 5th string and make a power chord. Okay. So we're going from the 6th string, 1st fret, to the 8th fret, those 2 notes or those 2 strings in the middle, right? And then we're heading down to the 5th string, 1st fret. So it sounds like this. Then, now we're going to pick through this chord now though. So what we have to do is create more of a bar chord than a power chord. So after we do that strum, we need to be pressing on 1 on the 5th string, 3 on the 4th string, 3 on the 3rd string, and 3 on the 2nd string. So what most people do is they bar over that with their 3rd finger. They'll press on all 3 of those 3s there. Okay? And then your 1st finger can just be pushing on the 5th string, 1st fret. So you're going to go. Okay? So now we have this. Then up to the 8s. Then down to the 1 of the 5th string, and we pick through. Then what we're going to do is we're going to make a 6th-string bar chord on the 1st fret. This would be called F major. Okay, so I'm pressing, again, I can bar the whole thing, or I can just press on the 6th string, because I don't need these bottom 2 strings anyway, so whatever's more comfortable for you. So I'm going from 1 to 3 to 3 to 2, so it looks like this. And then I'm going to simply take that same thing and move up to the 3rd fret. So you'll notice there I'm just picking 6, 5, 4, 3. Those are the strings I'm picking. When I was on the 5th string, I picked 5, 4, 3, 2. So here's what it looks like all together. I have. And then move up to the 6th string. And then 3rd fret.